Hey everyone, What If Fan here, bringing you another exciting part of What If copy system in Naruto. You can find the fanfic title and the original author's name on my Patreon page. Make sure to check it out and show them some love. If you enjoy the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you never miss an upload. Quick update. What If Ichigo Awoke his true powers will be finished soon, since we've nearly at the end of the story. So now, I need your help picking the next project for the channel. I'm currently deciding between these three fanfics. What If Gacha system in Modern Family World? What If Transmigrated in Bleach World? What If Transmigrated in One Piece and becoming a Marine? Please vote in the poll and let me know which story you'd like to see next. I'll take the top pick and start working on that series next. Also check out my Patreon channel for early releases of all the series, where you can find all the series released one day ahead of YouTube. Alright, let's jump into it. Chapter 301, Hagoromo Otsutsuki's younger brother, Hamura Otsutsuki. Shin stared at the Shinigami, and the Shinigami stared back at Shin. The atmosphere grew tense. Don't tell me you're really just an inanimate object? Shin asked. He honestly didn't know if the Shinigami possessed independent thought or if it was merely a puppet-like entity. The Shinigami didn't answer. Instead, it moved. The short blade clenched in its teeth appeared in its hand, and it lunged towards Shin. You want to fight me? Are you really that confident? Shin's eyes transformed, the Nine-Tomo Rinneten Seigen activating. Immense ocular power manifested as a tangible blade, blocking the Shinigami's attack. As Shin revealed his Rinneten Seigen, the Shinigami's usually unchanging face flickered with a subtle change. Shin noticed it but paid it no mind. Since it dared to attack him, it would have to pay the price. Using his ocular power and mental energy, Shin formed an invisible blade and severed one of the Shinigami's arms. Despite losing an arm, the Shinigami showed no sign of pain. It warily distanced itself from Shin. Let's talk. What's your connection to the Otsutsuki clan? Don't tell me there isn't one. I sense 6 paths level power within you. Shin held back from attacking further. He wanted to chat with the Shinigami. He had previously suspected it was just a puppet, but the fleeting expression shift suggested otherwise. Of course, he couldn't be entirely sure. Even if it was just a controlled puppet, Shin could still converse with the entity pulling the strings. At the mention of the Otsutsuki clan, the Shinigami visibly reacted, its dark eyes fixed intently on Shin. How do you know about the Otsutsuki clan? The Shinigami's raspy voice finally sounded. Records of the Otsutsuki clan had practically vanished from the shinobi world. People knew of the Sage of 6 Paths, but not his name, Hagoromo Otsutsuki. The destruction of the Otsutsuki clan on the moon, was that your doing? The Shinigami asked, not waiting for Shin's previous answer. Before you question me, shouldn't you reveal your own name? Or do you lack the courage, hiding behind the title of Shinigami to deceive others? Shin's calm tone held a sudden edge of disdain. He was deliberately provoking it, though he didn't know if the entity would take the bait. It was a simple taunt, easily seen through, but pride might make it fall for it. I will remember you. The Shinigami spoke coldly, gave Shin one last deep look, and slowly faded away. Phew, that pressure was intense. After the Shinigami vanished, Kushina let out a breath, feeling much more relaxed. The Shinigami's presence had been immense, especially the pressure it exerted on the soul. But Shin, it seems like the Shinigami has its eyes on you now. You have to be careful, Kushina warned Shin seriously. It's got its eyes on me, and I've got my eyes on it too. Shin smiled faintly. He wouldn't tolerate being targeted, especially by such a dangerous entity. He'd have to eliminate it. Let's see if it's really you, Hagoromo Otsutsuki. Shin suspected the Shinigami, or the one controlling it, was Hagoromo. Yamatsu Hirasaka. Shin opened a spatial portal, pulled Kushina through, and they appeared in a strange, unique space. Where is this? Kushina asked, looking around curiously. This is where the Shinigami returned. When I attacked it earlier, I left a mental imprint, allowing me to track it back to its base. Shin had used his mental energy attack to secretly mark the Shinigami. He had intentionally let it escape, otherwise it wouldn't have gotten away. Come out. Hiding is pointless, Hagoromo Otsutsuki. Just as he was about to search for the Shinigami, someone appeared. Wrong. I am not my elder brother Hagoromo. I am Hamura Otsutsuki. Hamura Otsutsuki emerged from the shadows, his white Byakugan eyes fixed on Shin. You're Hamura Otsutsuki? Shin's face showed genuine surprise. He had been wrong. He'd always assumed the entity behind the Shinigami was Hagoromo, never considering Hamura. First, the Uzumaki clan were descendants of Hagoromo, not Hamura. How could their sealing techniques be connected to Hamura? Because of this, Shin hadn't considered Hamura. Furthermore, Shin had always assumed Hamura was dead. After all, when Shin wiped out the Otsutsuki clan on the moon, Hamura never appeared. Since you've come here, prepare to die. Your eyes will belong to me. Hamura's face twisted with greed. He was the one who created the Shinigami puppet. Through it, he knew the extent of Shin Uzumaki's ocular power, it surpassed his own. Even Hamura and Otsutsuki coveted Shin's eyes. Oh, quite confident, aren't you? Do you really think you can defeat me? Shin looked at Hamura. The man seemed very sure of himself. Shin wondered where that confidence came from. This place is my domain. You're no match for me. No one is, except for my brother. And even he has to be cautious here. Hamura spoke with arrogant self-assurance. Surrender your eyes and pledge your loyalty, and I might spare your life. Would release deep forest emergence. Kushina couldn't stand it anymore. Vast swaths of trees erupted, engulfing Hamura within the forest. Would release? A cute trick, but useless against me. Hamura's Byakugan transformed into the Tensigen. The dense forest was instantly obliterated by a powerful repulsive force. Now I believe you truly are Hamura Otsutsuki. Shin looked at Hamura's Tensigen. Only now did he truly believe Hamura's identity. He hadn't been entirely convinced before, Hagoromo could have impersonated his brother. But seeing the Tensigen, there was no mistake. Of course, it didn't matter. Whether it was Hagoromo or Hamura, Shin had no intention of letting him live. You are of the Uzumaki clan, correct? Tell me your name. Hamura addressed Shin with a condescending tone. I am Shin Uzumaki. Remember the name. It would be a tragic death if you didn't even know who killed you. Consider it a professional courtesy. You should be grateful. Chapter 302, Shin vs. Hamura Otsutsuki. Shin's words enraged Hamura Otsutsuki, his body trembling with fury. Oh, my name alone makes you tremble with excitement? You must be quite pleased. Shin continued to tease Hamura, feeling a sense of satisfaction. He disliked arrogant people who acted high and mighty. Die. Hamura vanished instantly, reappearing behind Shin, his fist wrapped in chakra, striking towards Shin. However, the attack passed harmlessly through Shin's body. Space-time ninjutsu? Hamura was surprised, but then remembered Shin had teleported here. Without space-time ninjutsu, reaching this dimension, an alternate space similar to Kamui or Kagaya's dimensions would be impossible. Impressive, for someone with such ocular power. It seems I need to get serious. Hamura's expression turned grave. Even in his anger, Hamura hadn't used his full strength before. He had looked down on Shin, deeming him unworthy. After Kagaya Otsutsuki was sealed, the only ones Hamura truly feared were his brother, Hagoromo, and the Otsutsuki clan even his mother had dreaded. This Otsutsuki clan wasn't the diluted bloodline Shin had wiped out on the moon. The true Otsutsuki clan members were mostly 6 paths level. Even Kagaya, after eating the god tree fruit, had been wary of them. Hamura Otsutsuki, you do need to get serious. Otherwise, killing you so easily would be unsatisfying, Shin stated calmly. Hamura's face contorted with rage. I don't think I can interfere, Kushina said glumly. Just sensing their auras, Kushina knew she couldn't match their power. You don't need to, Kushina. Just watch from a distance. Compared to Six Paths level beings, Kushina's strength was still far inferior. It was natural she couldn't intervene. Alright. I won't get in your way. Kushina used the body flicker technique to retreat. Getting close to this battle would be dangerous, she wisely kept her distance. Hamura Otsutsuki, taste my unavoidable punch. Just letting you know beforehand, you can't dodge this. Shin unleashed his full aura, the terrifying pressure shaking the very dimension they were in. Hamura, previously composed, felt his pupils constrict. Shin's power was far greater than he'd anticipated. He had initially dismissed Shin as a harmless rabbit. Now, with Shin's power fully revealed, he realized Shin wasn't a rabbit, he was an all-devouring dragon. Shin clenched his fist and threw a lightning-fast punch towards Hamura's face. As Shin attacked, Hamura used his own space-time ninjutsu to instantly teleport away. He had created this dimension, after all. I told you. You can't dodge this. Hamura, who had just teleported away, reappeared instantly, his face meeting Shin's fist. The punch, powerful enough to shatter a mountain, sent Hamura flying thousands of meters, the force of the blow creating violent shockwaves throughout the dimension. If they were over the ocean, the sheer wind pressure from the punch could create monstrous tsunamis. Haven't used Tenmamai in a while. Still as broken as ever, Shin muttered to himself. Tenmamai and Yamatsu Hirasaka were the two dojutsu he gained upon awakening the Mangekyo Sharingan. He used Yamatsu Hirasaka frequently, but Tenmamai rarely, as it was usually unnecessary. Tenmamai allowed him to rewind time, it was the perfect counter to space-time ninjutsu. No matter how fast you teleported, Shin could simply rewind time to before you activated the technique. That was why Shin had said Hamura couldn't dodge. Honestly, with this dojutsu, Shin was practically unbeatable. Impressive durability for a Six Paths level being. Shin appeared instantly before the battered Hamura, looking down at him dispassionately. Hamura looked pathetic. Shin's punch had distorted his face, knocking out half his teeth. His features were completely twisted. Hitting someone in the face was generally frowned upon, but Shin felt it was warranted this time. With that level of strength, you think you can fight me? You want my eyes? You're not worthy. Shin looked down on Hamura, his voice filled with contempt. Shin Uzumaki, let me show you my true power. 9 truth-seeking orbs materialized behind Hamura Otsutsuki. His aura surged to its peak, even his injuries healing instantly. Though not a Ten-Tails Jinchuriki, Six Paths level beings possessed incredible vitality and regenerative abilities, rivaling those of the Ten-Tails Jinchuriki. Don't bother showing off. Anything you have, I have too. 12 truth-seeking orbs appeared behind Shin. More than Hamura possessed, making Hamura feel even more frustrated. 80 God's Vacuum Attack. Hamura gathered his ultimate Six Paths chakra into his palms and unleashed it in a barrage of countless fists. You know the 80 God's Vacuum Attack too? Shin was surprised for a moment, then figured it made sense. Hamura was Kagaya's son, knowing her ultimate taijutsu technique wasn't entirely unexpected. Taste your own attack, Takamagara. This was the ultimate dojutsu born from the fusion of the Rinnegan and Tensegan. It granted immunity to all attacks and reflected them back at the attacker. Even the ultimate taijutsu technique, the 80 God's Vacuum Attack, was no exception. It had no effect on Shin and was reflected back towards Hamura. The sky filled with massive chakra fists raining down on Hamura. He was utterly devastated. He couldn't believe his own attack was being turned against him. What kind of absurd ability is this? First, he'd been inexplicably punched in the face. If not for his Six Paths level durability, that punch would have killed him. Now, his ultimate taijutsu technique was being reflected back at him. This was unbelievably unfair. Hamura almost cursed out loud. But reality reminded him this wasn't the time for cursing. He had to deal with the incoming 80 Gods vacuum attack. He knew the power of his own attack better than anyone. If it hit him, he wouldn't die, but it would definitely hurt. Hamura immediately used his truth-seeking orbs, forming them into a massive black shield to block the attack. Chapter 303, The Death of Hamura Otsutsuki. Truth-seeking orbs were incredibly versatile, capable of offense, defense, and support, excelling in all aspects. Just now, Hamura Otsutsuki had used them to block the reflected 80 Gods vacuum attack. However, while the orbs successfully defended against the onslaught, the shield they formed shattered in the process. Truth-seeking orbs could nullify ninjutsu, but this was a taijutsu attack. Though the orbs were destroyed, it wasn't a significant loss. Hamura himself possessed Kekiai Mora. Even if the orbs were completely obliterated, he could recreate them. Sage Art, Super Great Ball Raisin Shuriken. Just as Hamura blocked the reflected attack, Shin hurled a massive Raisin Shuriken at him. This was Sage Art. Even truth-seeking orbs couldn't completely nullify it. Sage Art was one of the few powers capable of countering truth-seeking orbs. With no other option, Hamura channeled all his power into a repulsive force, attempting to counteract Shin's incoming attack. Shin didn't remain idle. With a wave of his hand, the truth-seeking orbs behind him transformed into the shape of a katana. Truth-seeking orbs could take various forms. Turning into weapons was certainly possible. Sword Art Secret Technique, Starfall Slash. With a single slash, the blade tore through Hamura's defenses, splitting both Hamura and the very dimension in two. That attack is insane. Kushina, watching from afar, felt her mouth twitch. The destructive power was staggering. Even though she had mastered would-release Sage Art, Shin's single strike seemed unbelievably powerful. Is that even humanly possible? Kushina thought Shin was no longer human. No ordinary human could possess such strength. Starfall Slash, a technique capable of shattering stars. It was Shin's ultimate sword art secret technique, honed over 20 years, capable of cleaving worlds apart. What a terrifying attack. But it's not enough to kill me. Hamura Otsutsuki reappeared, looking at Shin with extreme caution. Shin wasn't surprised that Hamura wasn't dead. More accurately, Hamura's physical body was dead, but he continued to exist in another form, similar to how Hagoromo Otsutsuki appeared in the original story, as a being of pure chakra. If Hamura had possessed a physical body before, he was now purely chakra energy. You're hard to kill. Shin scratched his head, feigning annoyance, though he wasn't genuinely troubled. Hamura Otsutsuki, if I strike you again like that, do you think you'll survive? Shin asked. You should know it's useless against me, Hamura replied calmly. He was composed now. Although he admitted he wasn't Shin's match, he believed Shin couldn't truly kill him either. Just like the tailed beasts, as long as their chakra existed in the world, they essentially couldn't die, they would eventually revive. Hamura was in a similar state. As long as his chakra remained, even if killed, he could revive after some time. Yes, the Starfall Slash is powerful, but truly killing me seems impossible. However, if I were to obliterate your will, do you think you could still revive? Shin asked Hamura with a sudden smile. Instantly, Hamura's expression changed. If his will was destroyed, he would be truly dead. It was similar to the relationship between Naruto Uzumaki and Azura Otsutsuki. Though Naruto was a reincarnation of Azura's chakra, they weren't the same person. Azura himself was long dead, his chakra didn't contain his will. Can you do that? Hamura didn't believe Shin could. He doubted even his brother or mother could achieve such a feat. Why don't you see for yourself? Shin said with a confident smile, making Hamura uneasy. He immediately tried to flee. Don't even think about running. I've sealed this space with Hyuinjutsu. Honestly, even if I don't kill you, I can trap you here forever. Hamura trying to escape? How naive. Since Shin had decided to eliminate him, he wouldn't let him get away. If Hamura escaped, Shin might be fine, but Makoto, Kushina, and the others wouldn't be safe. Therefore, Hamura Otsutsuki had to die. Ding! System mission issued, eliminate Hamura Otsutsuki. Reward, 1 divine replication card. As Shin resolved to kill him, the system issued a mission. Shin accepted it readily. Looks like you have another reason you absolutely must die. He was going to kill Hamura anyway, now there was an added incentive. Wait. Perhaps we can cooperate. There's no need for a fight to the death. Hamura started to panic, unable to escape. Shin's confident demeanor truly frightened him. He feared Shin actually possessed a way to kill him permanently. You're thinking too much. A fight to the death? That doesn't exist between us. Shin looked at Hamura with contempt. You want a life or death struggle with me? You overestimate yourself. Koto Amatsukami, Radiance. Shin pulled Hamura's consciousness into a genjutsu space, then completely annihilated his spirit. Hamura tried to resist, but his mental power was vastly inferior to Shin's. In the end, his spirit was effortlessly extinguished without any resistance. With the spirit, the soul gone, he was truly dead. This genjutsu technique is truly broken. Shin couldn't help but remark. This technique was inspired by Shirsue's ultimate move in the games, a different application of Koto Amatsukami, amplified by Shin's immense mental energy. The real Shirsue couldn't perform this version. Congratulations, Master. Mission complete. You have received 1 divine replication card. Gaining another divine replication card put Shin in an excellent mood. And his rewards didn't end there, he also obtained a pair of Tensigen. Shin descended, his gaze falling upon Hamura's bisected corpse, split by the starfall slash. You coveted my eyes? Now, yours are mine. Without hesitation, Shin plucked out Hamura's eyes and carefully preserved them. During his battle on the moon with Otsutsuki Ryusuke, Ryusuke's Tensigen had been destroyed in the fight, much to Shin's disappointment at the time. So this time, Shin had deliberately avoided destroying Hamura's corpse entirely, precisely to obtain these Tensigen. Honestly, these eyes were useless to Shin himself. However, just because he couldn't use them didn't mean others couldn't. He could potentially extract the Tensigen's ocular power and use it to help Hinata awaken her own Tensigen, or perhaps even help Makoto evolve her eyes into the Rinnegan. Chapter 304, Getting Away with It. The fight's over? Are you hurt? Kushina rushed over as soon as the battle concluded, asking Shin anxiously. Do I look hurt? Shin asked Kushina with a smile. Not only was he unscathed, but his clothes were also completely spotless. Now I have a better understanding of my own combat strength. I can completely dominate 6 paths level opponents. Although Shin had been confident in his abilities before, he hadn't known exactly how strong he was, lacking a proper benchmark. Easily dispatching Hamura Otsutsuki confirmed his power, he had likely surpassed the standard 6 paths level. During the fight with Hamura, Shin hadn't even used his full strength, let alone gotten serious. Honestly, I was hoping for a more intense battle. But my strength just doesn't allow for it. Shin wore a look of helplessness. I think you're just showing off, Kushina said, giving him an I see right through you look. Although Shin looked helpless, Kushina saw it as pure showing off. How could that be? I'm a modest person. I'm genuinely looking for a worthy opponent, but alas, there are none. Let's get out of this creepy dimension. By the way, what about the Shinigami? Kushina suddenly remembered the Shinigami. Don't worry about the Shinigami. It's just a tool now, Shin said, shaking his head. Hamura Otsutsuki had controlled the Shinigami, it was essentially his puppet. With Hamura dead, the Shinigami was just a masterless tool. Of course, Shin had his own reasons for not eliminating the Shinigami. He'd leave it as bait. Perhaps it could lure out Hagoromo Otsutsuki. The chances were slim, but not zero. So, he'd let the Shinigami remain. Let's go. Shin used Yamatsu Hirasaka, taking Kushina away from Hamura's dimension. They reappeared directly in the land of whirlpools. Well, look who decided to come back. We thought you two might never return. Tsunade greeted Shin and Kushina sarcastically. Getting chewed out by Tsunade was expected. Both Shin and Kushina had anticipated this upon their return. After all, they had been gone for quite some time. It would be strange if Tsunade and the others weren't resentful. Makoto wasn't even acknowledging Shin and Kushina. Even Konan turned her head away, clearly upset. Mei Terumi was also full of resentment. She also regretted not being able to go with Shin and Kushina. It would have been nice to travel freely with them for a few days. Actually, we had some important business. I encountered a powerful enemy and fought for 7 days and 7 nights before finally defeating him. Shin decided to use the Hamura Otsutsuki he'd killed as an excuse, exaggerating Hamura's strength to get himself off the hook. Kushina's mouth twitched slightly hearing Shin's explanation. But Kushina wasn't foolish enough to expose Shin's lie. Really? Tsunade looked at Shin skeptically. Of course. Kushina can vouch for me. If you don't believe me, ask her, Shin said, pointing at Kushina beside him. Kushina vouching doesn't count. You two are probably in cahoots, Mei Terumi interjected. Tsunade and Makoto nodded in agreement. If Kushina was the witness, they wouldn't believe it. Alright, if Kushina can't vouch, then these eyes should be proof enough. Shin took out his spoils of war, Hamura's Tensigen, and showed them to Makoto, Tsunade, and the others. Such powerful ocular energy. Makoto stared at the Tensigen floating in the saline bottle. Even through the glass, she could feel its immense power. Her own eternal Mangekyo Sharingan paled in comparison. Shin, you really encountered a strong enemy? Are you alright? Makoto asked Shin with concern. Shin are you injured? Konan immediately ran over, examining Shin closely. Hinata grabbed Shin's hand, looking at him worriedly. Shin-sama, would you like a bite? It can heal you, Karen Uzumaki offered her arm earnestly. Ahem, thank you, Karen. But I'm not injured. Even if Shin was injured, he could use Tenmamai to rewind time to before he was hurt. Shin, those eyes are. Tsunade asked Shin, puzzled. Don't you recognize them? Remember Otsutsuki Ryusuke on the moon? They're the same as his eyes. These are the Tensigen. Shin explained to Tsunade. Don't tell me you've already forgotten what the Tensigen looks like? We didn't get a good look last time, Tsunade said, rolling her eyes at Shin. Last time, Tsunade and the others hadn't paid much attention. However, Tsunade did notice a slight resemblance to Shin's eyes. That was normal. Shin's eyes were a fusion of the Tensigen and Rinnegan. They had just evolved further later, gaining Tomo. Tensigen. Who was the strong enemy you fought? Makoto asked Shin curiously. Wait, what's the Tensigen? Mei Terumi raised her hand, looking completely lost. She knew about the 3 great dojutsu. Sharingan, Byakugan, and Rinnegan, but nothing else. The Tensigen is the evolution of the Byakugan, on the same level as the Rinnegan. As for who Shin fought, it was Hamura Otsutsuki, the Sage of 6 Paths' brother. Before Shin could answer, Kushina jumped in and explained for him. Shin was happy to let her. At the same time, Shin breathed a sigh of relief internally. He had successfully diverted the topic. The issue of him and Kushina being gone for so long had been brushed aside. He had gotten away with it. Kushina secretly gave Shin a thumbs up. Shin saw Kushina's discreet thumbs up but remained composed, not showing excessive pride. Pride comes before a fall. Shin understood this principle. He couldn't get too complacent, getting too cocky could lead to trouble. Chapter 305, Handling the Tensigen. Shin looked at the Tensigen floating in the saline bottle, considering how to use it. Can the Tensigen's ocular power help Makoto's eternal Mangekyo Sharingan evolve into the Rinnegan? Shin wasn't sure if it would work. Although the Rinnegan and Tensigen likely shared a common origin, who really knew the specifics? I was able to fuse the Tensigen and Rinnegan into the Rinne Tensigen. So, using the Tensigen's power to help Makoto awaken the Rinnegan, it should be possible. Shin felt the probability was high. Whether it was the Byakugan, Sharingan, Rinnegan, or Tensigen, their ocular powers were fundamentally the same, just differing in quality and strength. Since it seemed feasible, he decided to try it. Even if it failed, with him around, nothing could go wrong. Having made his decision, Shin went to find Makoto. She wasn't at home but at the training ground, currently guiding Karen's training. Karen was fortunate, having Kushina, Makoto, Tsunade, and Konan all instructing her. Her starting point was leagues above most. "Makoto, come here for a second." Shin called out to Makoto upon arriving at the training ground. Makoto, who had been sitting and observing Karen's practice, stood up and walked over to Shin. "Shin, what is it?" Makoto asked curiously. "Something important. Something very important." Shin's mysterious expression piqued the curiosity of Kushina, Tsunade, and the others, who also came over. "Stop being mysterious and just tell us," Kushina said. "This concerns Makoto, not you," Shin said, rolling his eyes at Kushina. He then took out the Tensigen and showed it to Makoto. "Makoto, I plan to extract the Tensigen's ocular power and seal it into your eyes. I want to see if it can evolve your Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan." "Evolve the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan?" Makoto was slightly surprised, but not overly concerned. She wasn't particularly obsessed with pursuing strength. The evolution of the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan is the Rinnegan. Does that mean Makoto's eyes will evolve into the Rinnegan? Tsunade asked. "I can't guarantee it. But at the very least, it will enhance the ocular power of Makoto's Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. There's no harm, only benefit." Since it was all upside, giving it a try seemed worthwhile. Besides, even if this didn't work, Makoto might still awaken the Rinnegan on her own in the future. After all, she now possessed both the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan and the perfect Sage Body. The chances of awakening the Rinnegan under these conditions were high, possibly even easier than it was for Madara Uchiha. "What do I need to do?" Makoto asked Shin. "You don't need to do anything, Makoto. I'll handle it." Shin took out one Tensigen. Extracting its ocular power was an operation Shin believed only he could perform. The extraction process was time-consuming. It took Shin over 10 minutes to complete. Afterward, the Tensigen was completely depleted and useless. Shin didn't feel bad about it. As long as it served its purpose, destroying it was acceptable. He then used a sealing technique to seal the ocular power into Makoto's eyes. Makoto closed her eyes, feeling a cool sensation spread through them. Her Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan activated, but it didn't evolve further. "No change?" Konan observed Makoto's eyes. "Of course there's no change yet. I sealed the power within Makoto's eyes. She needs to slowly absorb and integrate it. Only after Makoto fully absorbed the ocular power would they know the result." "What about the other Tensigen? Aren't you going to extract its power and seal it in Makoto's eyes too?" Kushina asked, pointing at the remaining eye in Shin's hand. "No need. The power of one Tensigen should be enough for Makoto. The Tensigen's power is just a catalyst for potential evolution." Shin looked at the remaining Tensigen. He had other plans for this one. His gaze shifted towards Hinata. Honestly, the Tensigen's power was likely more compatible with Hinata. "I'll seal the power of this remaining Tensigen into Hinata's eyes," Shin said, patting Hinata's head. "Hinata? Right, Hamura Otsutsuki is technically Hinata's ancestor," Tsunade nodded. Then she gave Shin a strange look. Thinking about it, he actually killed her ancestor. Shin ignored Tsunade's peculiar stare and extracted the ocular power from the second Tensigen. Having done it once, this time was noticeably faster. He sealed the Tensigen's power into Hinata's Byakugan, allowing it to slowly nourish her eyes. Whether they would eventually evolve into the Tensigen, Shin couldn't guarantee. He wasn't omniscient, the future was uncertain. But it would definitely benefit her, with no downsides. If Makoto evolves the Rinnegan, does that mean I won't be able to beat her anymore? Kushina couldn't help but ask. That's highly probable. If Makoto awakens the Rinnegan, you really won't be her match, Shin confirmed with a nod. Nagato Uzumaki wielded transplanted Rinnegan and could unleash immense power. Makoto's own awakened Rinnegan would undoubtedly surpass Kushina's current strength. Damn it! Dojutsu are so broken. Kushina grumbled. Mei Terumi and Tsunade nodded in agreement. Compared to other abilities, Dojutsu were incredibly powerful. Even the seemingly weakest, the Byakugan, held considerable potential. You can't just envy it, Shin told them. He couldn't help them acquire Dojutsu. It's not like I'm envious. I'm strong enough as I am, Kushina said confidently. You say you're not weak, but I can practically feel the envy radiating off you, Shin teased Kushina. Ah. Shin, you're asking for a beating. Kushina, flustered and angry, started chasing Shin. The others were already used to this, they almost felt something was missing if Shin and Kushina didn't chase each other around for a bit. Let's go continue guiding Karen's training, Makoto suggested. With so many instructors, Karen was progressing rapidly. Driven by her goal to repay Shin by being helpful, she trained diligently. Though she didn't yet know how she could possibly assist Shin, he seemed to need nothing, she dedicated herself to getting stronger. Chapter 306, This Child Must Not Be Allowed to Live. 3 years passed in the blink of an eye. In Konoha, Hiruzen Sarutobi and Danzo Shimura were holding a meeting. Besides Danzo, Koharu Yutane and Hamura Midokata were also present. It was a private meeting involving only the four of them, other Konoha higher-ups were not invited. These four were the true core of Konoha's leadership. Decisions made by them held absolute authority, no one else could override them. The topic of this meeting was the Uchiha clan. 3 years had passed since the Hyuga clan's defection. Konoha hadn't taken any significant action against the defected Hyuga, mainly because Hiruzen was wary of Shin Uzumaki's involvement. The fact that the Hyuga clan had successfully defected and faced no repercussions for 3 years had unsettled the Uchiha clan. Fugaku Uchiha had initially hoped that the Hyuga incident would prompt Hiruzen to appease the Uchiha and treat them better. Instead, the suppression continued. The Uchiha clan felt increasingly marginalized, their resentment towards Konoha reaching a boiling point. Subtle movements and unrest were brewing within the clan. As the Uchiha clan resided within Konoha, their actions, no matter how secretive, couldn't escape Hiruzen's notice, especially since he was already monitoring them closely. Let's hear your thoughts. How should we handle the Uchiha clan? Hiruzen took a deep breath and asked Danzo and the two elders. Hiruzen, is there even a choice? Annihilating the Uchiha clan is the only path forward now, Danzo said, a ruthless glint in his eye. I agree with Danzo. The Uchiha clan is a cancer. Leaving them be will only endanger Konoha, Hamura Midokata immediately concurred, with Koharu Yutane nodding in agreement. Hiruzen remained silent, deep in thought, weighing the pros and cons. The Uchiha clan was indeed a threat, but they were also a crucial asset to Konoha. Annihilating them wouldn't be easy. Hiruzen, what are you hesitating for? The Uchiha are practically plotting open rebellion. What concerns could you possibly have now? Danzo slammed his hand on the table and stood up angrily. This was the perfect opportunity to eliminate the Uchiha, something Danzo had long desired but lacked justification for. Now, the justification had practically fallen into his lap. How could he let this chance slip by? Danzo, have you considered the consequences? Hiruzen looked up, his gaze serious. It wasn't that Hiruzen didn't want to eliminate the Uchiha. He couldn't tolerate any threat to Konoha except, perhaps, for Danzo himself. However, the cost of destroying the Uchiha clan was too high. They were powerful, far stronger than the Hyuga. During the Third Shinobi World War, though the Uchiha had suffered losses fighting against Kirigakure, the survivors were all elites. The Uchiha grew stronger through battle. The life and death struggle was the ultimate catalyst for awakening the Sharingan. Even though their numbers were diminished, their combat strength was immense. In terms of pure clan power, who in the current shinobi world could compare to the Uchiha? Unlike Danzo, Hiruzen had to consider the bigger picture. Danzo was solely focused on destroying the Uchiha. Knock, knock, knock. Lord Hokage, Shisui Uchiha requests an audience. Shisui Uchiha stood outside the door, waiting for Hiruzen's response. Danzo's face instantly darkened. This is a closed-door meeting. What is he doing here? Danzo, I asked Shisui Uchiha to come, Hiruzen informed Danzo. What? Danzo, Hamura, and Koharu were all taken aback. Shisui, come in. Hiruzen didn't explain further, simply allowing Shisui to enter. Greetings, Lord Hokage, Lord Danzo, elders. Shisui entered and bowed respectfully. His etiquette was flawless, leaving Danzo with no room for criticism, though he still snorted coldly. Hiruzen, what is the meaning of bringing an Uchiha to this meeting? Danzo questioned Hiruzen bluntly. Shisui will resolve the conflict between Konoha and the Uchiha clan. If possible, I don't want conflict. After all, the Uchiha clan is part of Konoha. Hiruzen stated. Danzo sneered. Resolve the conflict? Does he even have that kind of power? Danzo looked contemptuously at Shisui Uchiha. Although Shisui was the Uchiha clan's strongest, he wasn't the clan head. His reputation within the clan was high, but he couldn't command the entire clan. Yes. With these eyes. Shisui Uchiha activated his Mangekyo Sharingan. My Mangekyo Sharingan dojutsu is called Koto Amatsukami. It can permanently and completely alter a person's thoughts and will. I can use Koto Amatsukami to change the clan head's mind. Was Shisui Uchiha naive? Revealing his Mangekyo Sharingan ability so openly? After Shisui spoke, everyone, including Hiruzen, drew a sharp breath. This was the first time Hiruzen had learned of Shisui's specific ability. This child must not be allowed to live. Hiruzen thought grimly. Even knowing Shisui was loyal to Konoha, his dojutsu was too dangerous. Hiruzen himself felt threatened. What if he uses Koto Amatsukami to alter their thoughts and will? Especially since Shisui hadn't mentioned any drawbacks to the technique. Shisui Uchiha was unaware that revealing his ability had just signed his death warrant. Even Hiruzen wanted him dead now, let alone Danzo, Hamura, and Koharu. However, they were all cunning old foxes. Even if they wanted Shisui dead, they didn't show it. I have faith in Shisui. He can change Fugaku's mind, Hiruzen said, expressing his confidence in Shisui. Let's see what you can do. Danzo stood up, giving Shisui Uchiha a deep look, a greedy glint hidden in the depths of his eyes. Shisui Uchiha's Mangekyo Sharingan was very powerful, how could Danzo not covet it? Danzo even dreamed of using this Mangekyo Sharingan to seize the Hokage position. If the ability was truly as potent as Shisui claimed, becoming Hokage wouldn't be impossible. He just needed to control Hiruzen and make him relinquish the Hokage position. Chapter 307, Danzo attacks Shisui Uchiha. Shisui Uchiha left the meeting room, his expression troubled. As an Uchiha, he was acutely aware of the escalating tension between his clan and Konoha. It seems only my eyes can resolve this conflict, Shisui sighed inwardly. But doing so meant betraying his clan head. His plan was to use Koto Amatsukami to alter Fugaku Uchiha's will, forcing him to be loyal to Konoha. Only then could the conflict be temporarily suppressed. If the clan had abandoned his rebellious thoughts and remained loyal, the rest of the clan wouldn't dare stir up trouble. The clan head could keep them in line. I need to talk to Itachi. Shisui decided to find Itachi Uchiha. Shisui was like a mentor and friend to Itachi. Honestly, having decided to use his power on Itachi's father, Shisui felt a pang of guilt towards his friend. Just as Shisui was about to head towards the Uchiha compound, someone bumped into him, dropping a piece of paper at his feet. He glanced back, but the person who bumped him had already vanished. Shisui hesitated for a moment, then picked up the note. After reading it, Shisui frowned. Lord Danzo invites me to discuss the Uchiha clan matter. He had just met Danzo. Why the sudden invitation? Shui couldn't figure it out. Perhaps he wants to discuss something privately. Shui decided to go. He didn't sense any danger. What danger could there be within Konoha? Although he knew Danzo wasn't a good person, Shui didn't believe Danzo would attack him inside the village. Changing his plans, Shui headed towards the meeting place Danzo had specified. The location was an abandoned training ground in a remote part of Konoha. Shui didn't find anything unusual about it. It wasn't that Shui wasn't smart, he simply hadn't considered the possibility of foul play. Strange, why is no one here? Shui arrived at the designated spot but found it empty. He decided to wait. After waiting for about half an hour, Danzo finally arrived, accompanied by several root ninjas. Lord Danzo, you wanted to discuss the Uchiha clan matter with me? Indeed. I don't think you can resolve the Uchiha clan issue, Danzo stated flatly. Shui immediately became anxious. Lord Danzo, please trust me. I definitely have the ability, he pleaded. Danzo slowly walked closer to Shui. Shui Uchiha, I do not trust you. As he spoke, Danzo suddenly struck, moving with lightning speed, and gouged out Shui's right eye. The distance was too close, and Shui hadn't been on guard. When he realized Danzo was attacking, his body felt sluggish for a moment, preventing him from dodging. His eye was taken. Shui let out a pained scream. Losing an eye was excruciating. Lord Danzo, why? Shui clutched his bleeding eye socket, blood seeping through his fingers. Shui Uchiha, don't you realize your eyes are too dangerous? Such perilous abilities should be in my hands, Danzo said calmly. Didn't expect to see such a good show right after arriving in Konoha. Shin observed the scene from nearby. Danzo gouging out Shui's eye, he'd stumbled upon it just after entering the village. Shin had come to Konoha because of the Uchiha clan situation. He knew from White Zetsu that Obito had arrived in Konoha. Based on the timeline, Shin deduced that the Uchiha massacre wasn't far off. Having been lazing around in the land of whirlpools for so long, Shin decided to come see the spectacle, hoping perhaps for a different outcome for the Uchiha annihilation this time. Danzo was ruthless, snatching eyes like that. Shin muttered softly. Though Shin himself wasn't much better in terms of ruthlessness. Shui Uchiha, hand over the other eye. Don't force my hand. Danzo had one eye, but he knew the Sharingan's true power could only be unleashed with both eyes. Susanoo, for example, required both eyes. Obito Uchiha, with only one eye, never used Susanoo. Kakashi was the one who eventually manifested its power. Never. I'll never give it to you. Danzo, you attacked a fellow Konoha ninja. Do you know the consequences if Lord Hokage finds out? Shui roared furiously. Consequences? No one will know I killed you, Danzo replied calmly. Since he dared to attack Shui, he had naturally made thorough preparations. He had poisoned the area beforehand with a colorless, odorless gas. That was why he had made Shui wait for so long, to ensure he absorbed enough poison. The reason Shui felt sluggish and couldn't dodge earlier was because he had been poisoned. Attack! Danzo ordered the root ninja behind him. Shui Uchiha had to die. Don't damage his Sharingan, Danzo added. If the Sharingan was destroyed, this operation would be a huge loss. Danzo's subordinates attacked. Shui wouldn't just stand there and wait to die. He drew his ninja sword from his back and blocked one of the root members' attacks. Shui, wielding his sword, was pushed back by an opponent using only a kunai. His body felt weak, unable to exert its full strength, and even mobilizing chakra was difficult. Danzo, you poisoned me? Shui realized what had happened. Danzo must have poisoned him, otherwise, his condition wouldn't be like this. Danzo ignored Shui, secretly looking for an opportunity to strike and finish him off quickly. Although this place was remote, it was still within Konoha. If Hiruzen Sarutobi discovered this, it would be troublesome. Danzo wasn't afraid of facing Hiruzen after Shui was dead, but he feared Hiruzen intervening before Shisui was dead. Wind style, vacuum wave. Shisui, surrounded by root ninja, reacted quickly. As Danzo launched a ninjutsu attack, Shisui instantly blocked it, using the force of the impact to propel himself backward. Shisui intended to use this opportunity to escape. He absolutely could not let his other eye fall into Danzo's hands. Danzo was ambitious. If his eyes fell into Danzo's possession, who knew what terrible things Danzo might do? Shisui Uchiha lived up to his title Shisui of the Body Flicker. His speed was incredible. In an instant, his figure vanished. After him. Kill Shisui Uchiha at all costs. Danzo ordered, his face grim. He hadn't expected Shisui to escape under these circumstances. Chapter 308, Shisui's Death. Shisui fled desperately. Poisoned, he couldn't fight Danzo's subordinates effectively, making even escape difficult. Shin watched but didn't intervene. It wasn't his nature to interfere in matters that didn't concern him, unless the person involved was someone he found interesting. Shisui Uchiha didn't qualify. Despite the poison in pursuit by Danzo and elite root ninja, Shisui managed to escape. He was severely injured, covered in dozens of cuts and bruises from the brief exchange. Danzo. I never thought you'd attack a fellow villager. Shisui clenched his fist and raged. Even a saint would be furious in this situation. He waited quietly. Soon, Itachi Uchiha arrived. Shisui, what happened? Itachi rushed over, alarmed by Shisui's condition and the missing eye. Itachi had been training when Shisui's crow delivered a message summoning him here. It was Danzo. Shisui didn't hide the truth from Itachi. I'll go find him, Itachi said coldly. Shisui was his mentor and friend. Their bond was stronger than the one Itachi shared with his own parents. Aside from his younger brother, Shisui was the person Itachi cared about most. Seeing Shisui like this, Itachi couldn't control his anger. Don't go after Danzo. It's useless. Shisui shook his head. Even if Itachi confronted Danzo, Danzo would deny everything. Telling the Hokage wouldn't help either. Itachi, I called you here to give you something. Shisui reached up and plucked out his remaining eye. Danzo took my right eye. Take this one. I hope you'll use it to protect the peace of Konoha. Shisui, what are you planning? Itachi asked, a sense of foreboding washing over him as Shisui handed him the eye. I hope my death will awaken the Uchiha clan. I hope they'll abandon their plans for a coup. Shisui planned to commit suicide, hoping that losing him, one of their strongest members, would make the Uchiha realize the disparity in strength between their clan and Konoha and give up their plans for rebellion. Itachi, one last gift for you. Shisui walked to the edge of the cliff, gave Itachi a faint smile, and then leaped into the river below. Itachi stood frozen, clutching the Mangekyo Shisui had given him, staring blankly at the spot where Shisui had disappeared. His own Sharingan unknowingly activated. The three Tomo spun rapidly, merging together, evolving into the Mangekyo Sharingan. This was Shisui's final gift to Itachi, helping him awaken the Mangekyo Sharingan. Shisui. Itachi bowed his head in anguish. His best friend, his mentor, had killed himself right before his eyes. Like a walking corpse, Itachi numbly made his way back to the Uchiha compound. After Itachi left, Shin suddenly appeared, his gaze fixed on the river where Shisui had jumped. Universal pull. An invisible gravitational force erupted from Shin's hand, pulling Shisui's body from the river. This corpse still has some use. I'll borrow it for a while. Shin took Shisui's body and vanished. Obito, long time no see. Hidden within Konoha, Obito startled and spun around, looking behind him. Shin Uzumaki? Obito frowned. How did he find him? Was it White Zetsu? Obito had long suspected White Zetsu was a double agent, frequently leaking information. Perhaps Shin knew his whereabouts because of White Zetsu. Indeed, White Zetsu had told Shin that Obito was in Konoha. But finding Obito now was Shin's own doing. You don't seem very happy to see me, Shin said with a faint smile. Obito refocused his thoughts. He resolved that any future actions would be kept secret from White Zetsu. What is your purpose in Konoha? You didn't come just to find me, did you? Obito asked Shin. Honestly, if possible, Obito preferred not to interact with Shin. Shin's power exceeded his own, facing Shin made Obito feel insecure. Thus, Obito felt a strong aversion towards Shin. Anyone would be wary of someone stronger than them, especially when their intentions were unknown. I came to watch the upcoming show. And you? Shin looked at Obito. Shin already knew Obito's purpose. I saw someone suitable to join the Akatsuki. Obito's goal was to recruit Itachi Uchiha into the Akatsuki. Oh? Make sure you don't recruit a backstabber. Shin glanced at Obito. Itachi Uchiha was a double agent. Obito probably knew this, but Shin wondered what Obito was truly planning. Actually, I wasn't looking for you. I was looking for White Zetsu. Shin hadn't come here specifically for Obito, but for a White Zetsu clone. Coincidentally, one happened to be following Obito. Shin-sama, you were looking for me? White Zetsu asked respectfully, bowing and scraping. Seeing White Zetsu's subservient behavior, Obito felt a surge of anger. Why isn't White Zetsu ever like this with him? But considering the power difference between himself and Shin, he suppressed his feelings. Yes, White Zetsu, I was looking for you. But this time, I need you to make a small sacrifice, Shin said, smiling at White Zetsu. For some reason, seeing Shin's smile made White Zetsu feel uneasy, a sense of foreboding creeping into its core. Come with me, White Zetsu. Shin turned and walked away, ignoring Obito. White Zetsu, though apprehensive, didn't dare disobey Shin's command. Shin told him to follow, and White Zetsu wouldn't refuse. He cautiously followed behind Shin. But the further he followed Shin, the more dangerous he felt it became. What does he want with White Zetsu? Obito watched Shin's retreating back, pondering. Obito already considered Shin a potential enemy. He needed to analyze Shin's every move. Chapter 309, Edo Tensei Shusui Uchiha. White Zetsu, I'm going to have to trouble you for a bit. Shin led White Zetsu to an open area and addressed it. No trouble at all. It's my honor to assist you, Shin-sama. White Zetsu declared, striking a pose of utmost devotion. Shin almost felt bad for what he was about to do. Don't worry, I'll remember you. But for now, I need you to serve as a sacrifice. What? Shin-sama, you want me to be a sacrifice? White Zetsu's composure shattered, its face twisting into a miserable expression. It seemed death was inescapable. White Zetsu didn't resist, but knew resistance was futile. It was just a lowly White Zetsu clone, lacking any real power. Of course, whether it was a clone or the original didn't matter much. Even if the main body died, the other White Zetsu could continue functioning. Shin retrieved Shusui Uchiha's corpse from the Kamui dimension and instructed White Zetsu to possess it. White Zetsu had the ability to possess others, even corpses. Once White Zetsu possessed the body, Shin performed the Edo Tensei technique, using White Zetsu as the vessel to revive Shusui Uchiha. Edo Tensei required a piece of the deceased's flesh as a medium. Shin used Shursui's entire corpse. Aren't I already dead? Shusui said. Yes, you were dead. Now you've returned, in a different state. Shin nodded calmly. Shusui immediately looked at Shin, his eyes widening in recognition. You're Shin Uzumaki. Indeed. You still recognize me. Honestly, not many in the shinobi world remember me anymore. That was true. Shin's name once struck fear into the hearts of children, but now, only the older generation of ninja truly understood his reputation. What is your purpose? Shusui activated his Mangekyo Sharingan, wary of Shin. It was strange, actually a major flaw in the Edo Tensei. Shursui's eyes had been removed, yet the reanimated version possessed them. Similarly, Madara Uchiha, when reanimated in the original story, appeared in his prime, not as an old man.
And Nagato Uzumaki, reanimated, still possessed the Rinnegan, even though they weren't originally his eyes. Even Shin, having learned Edo Tensei, couldn't explain this inconsistency. You ask my purpose? I wasn't going to tell you, but seeing as you're already dead, poor thing, I'll let you in on it. Shin looked at Shisui with pity. With Shisui's strength, he should have been a prominent figure, yet he chose suicide. I just wanted to liven things up in Konoha. Don't you think it's gotten too quiet? You plan to attack Konoha? Shisui asked angrily. His loyalty to Konoha outweighed even his own life. Hiruzen Sarutobi's brainwashing skills were truly top tier. Even in death, I won't let you harm Konoha. Shisui used the Great Fireball technique, launching it at Shin. Young man, you're not worthy of fighting me. Shin watched the fireball calmly. It dissipated before even reaching him. Koto Amatsukami. Seeing his ninjutsu fail, Shisui immediately used Koto Amatsukami. If he could alter Shin Uzumaki's will, make him protect Konoha, the village would surely be safe. Don't play tricks with genjutsu in front of me. It's useless. Shin shook his head. Shisui's spiritual power was far too weak compared to Shin's. Koto Amatsukami wouldn't affect him. Koto Amatsukami wasn't infallible. Against someone with significantly stronger spiritual power, it would fail. Genjutsu, reversal. Using his own ocular power, Shin reflected Shisui's Koto Amatsukami back onto him, forcibly altering Shisui's will. Shisui, who had been attacking Shin, froze, looked at Shin, then turned and left. Shin didn't stop him. His objective was achieved. Now, it was time to watch the show. Shin wasn't the protagonist in this drama, he was an outsider, or perhaps, the director. The reanimated Shisui, now under Shin's subtle influence, returned to the Uchiha compound step by step. Shisui? What happened to you? An Uchiha clansman stared in shock as Shisui walked in. His appearance was unnerving. The reanimated body was covered in cracks, looking like it could crumble at any moment. Take me to the clan head, Shisui instructed the clansman. Oh, all right. As the Uchiha clan's renowned top master, Shisui commanded respect. The clansman quickly led him to Fugaku. Fugaku Uchiha also noticed Shisui's strange condition immediately upon seeing him. Shisui, what happened to your body? Fugaku asked. Clan head, I am already dead, Shisui stated calmly, but his words stunned Fugaku. You're already dead? Fugaku frowned. If you're dead, then what are you now? Clan head, you must have heard of the Edo Tensei technique? After I died, someone used Edo Tensei to revive me, Shisui explained. Edo Tensei. I've heard of it. The forbidden jutsu developed by the second Hokage. Fugaku knew of the technique, though it was considered a secret. Shisui, how did you die? The details of the technique weren't important now. Fugaku needed to know how Shisui died. I was deceived by Danzo. He stole one of my eyes, then hunted me down, leaving me severely injured. In the end, I gave my remaining eye to Itachi and threw myself into the river. Shisui recounted the events to Fugaku. Fugaku clenched his fists tightly. Chapter 310, Fighting for the Uchiha Clan. Learning how Shisui died, Fugaku Uchiha's expression turned grim. If possible, he truly didn't want to completely break ties with Konoha. But now, Danzo had dared to attack Shisui so brazenly. Fugaku, unless he was a complete fool, understood what that signified. Shisui, who used Edo Tensei to revive you? Fugaku stared intently at Shisui. This question was crucial. If Shisui didn't answer, Fugaku couldn't rest easy. It was Shin Uzumaki. Shisui answered directly, without hesitation. Shin hadn't forbidden him from revealing this. Shin Uzumaki revived you using Edo Tensei. What is his goal? Fugaku frowned, carefully analyzing Shin's possible motives.
Fugaku didn't doubt Shirsue's words. He felt only Shin Uzumaki would be capable of such a thing.
He couldn't think of anyone else. Shin Uzumaki's motives aren't important right now.
What matters is how the Uchiha clan will survive the coming disaster, Shirsue said to Fugaku.
Fugaku nodded.
Speculating was useless. Even if they guessed Shin's intentions, what could they do?
He knew his limits. Shin Uzumaki possessed power that made any hidden village wary. The Uchiha clan couldn't compare. Even their entire clan combined couldn't match Shin Uzumaki alone.
Shirsue, what are your thoughts now?
Fugaku asked Shirsue.
Fugaku knew Shirsue well, knew his deep love for the village. If forced to choose between the clan and the village, Shirsue would undoubtedly choose the village.
This was Fugaku's greatest dilemma. Shirsue was the Uchiha's top fighter, but his loyalty wasn't solely to the clan. What leverage did Fugaku have against Konoha?
To protect the honor of the Uchiha clan.
To fight for the Uchiha clan. Shirsue responded without hesitation, his gaze firm and unwavering.
Looking at Shirsue now, Fugaku almost thought he was looking at a different person. Perhaps this is related to Shin Uzumaki, Fugaku speculated inwardly. He had to admit, his guess was likely correct. Originally, the plan between myself and the third Hokage was to use Koto Amatsukami to control you, make you loyal to Konoha, and resolve the conflict. Shirsue suddenly revealed his original purpose, causing Fugaku's face to darken. Now, I only wish to protect the honor of the Uchiha clan, to fight for the Uchiha clan. I hope the clan head can trust me.
Looking into Shirsue's incredibly earnest eyes, Fugaku nodded. He chose to trust Shirsue. If Shirsue weren't sincere, he wouldn't have revealed such a thing.
It probably won't be long before the third Hokage makes a move against the Uchiha clan.
The clan head needs to prepare.
And be wary of those who need warying. Hearing Shirsue's words, Fugaku frowned.
Shirsue, what do you mean? Itachi Uchiha. He is an obstacle. Shirsue told Fugaku. To the current Shirsue, Itachi was no longer his friend. Anyone who threatened the Uchiha clan was his enemy. Are you saying Itachi would betray the Uchiha clan? Fugaku asked Shirsue, his heart heavy with complex emotions. Clan head, you should know his personality.
No, when it comes to understanding him, perhaps you know Itachi better than I do.
Fugaku shook his head. Due to his busy clan affairs, Fugaku didn't know Itachi as well as he should.
Perhaps letting him join the Yumbu back then was a mistake.
Fugaku sighed. He shouldn't have let Itachi become a spy.
Fugaku had sent Itachi into the Yumbu to act as a spy, relaying information about Konoha's leadership. Joining the Yumbu meant frequent contact with Hiruzen Sarutobi. But Fugaku hadn't expected Itachi to become a double agent, feeding the Uchiha useless intel while helping Hiruzen monitor the clan. Before joining the Akatsuki, Itachi Uchiha was a double agent. I will talk to Itachi. When do you think Hiruzen Sarutobi will move against the Uchiha clan? Fugaku asked Shirsue. I don't know. Since the original plan failed, probably not long. Likely within these 2 days. With the plan to use Koto Amatsukami on Fugaku thwarted, Hiruzen would surely resort to other means. I understand. Shirsue, stay here for now.
Yes.
As clan head, Fugaku had his own considerations. Fugaku then left to find his son, Itachi. Itachi, ever since he started training, had been Fugaku's pride and joy. But now, Fugaku couldn't help but wear a bitter smile. The bitter smile vanished quickly, replaced by his usual impassive expression as he walked towards Itachi's room. Arriving at Itachi's door, Fugaku pushed it open without knocking. He knew Itachi was home. Itachi sat inside, dazed, still reeling from the shock of Shirsue's death. Father? Itachi looked up, his eyes somewhat vacant, as Fugaku entered. Itachi, I've made my decision. We launched the coup d'etat tonight. Has there been any movement from Hiruzen Sarutobi's side? Fugaku sat down and asked Itachi. Instantly, Itachi's brow furrowed. Father, why must you launch the coup?
Don't you know the consequences? Itachi asked angrily. Once Konoha and the Uchiha clan went to war, even if it ended in mutual destruction, other villages would surely seize the opportunity to attack the weakened Konoha. It could trigger another shinobi world war. Consequences? The Uchiha clan is no longer in a position to consider consequences, Fugaku said calmly. Itachi was young and intelligent, possessing a grasp of the bigger picture. Did Fugaku not understand the potential fallout? If he wasn't pushed to the brink, would he and the entire Uchiha clan even consider such a path? That wraps up this part of What If Copy System in Naruto. Thanks so much for listening. As always, new parts drop every 4 days, so be sure to stay tuned. Quick reminder. What if Ichigo awoke his true powers will be finished soon, since we're nearly at the end of the story. So now, I need your help picking the next project for the channel. I'm currently deciding between these 3 fanfics. What if Gacha system in Modern Family World? What if Transmigrated in Bleach World? What if Transmigrated in One Piece and becoming a Marine? Please vote in the poll and let me know which story you'd like to see next. I'll take the top pick and start working on that series next. Also check out my Patreon channel for early releases of all the series, where you can find all the series released one day ahead of YouTube. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and please consider supporting the original author as well. See you in the next one.